Good morning and welcome, everyone. I call to order the Kansas Corporation Commission business meeting for Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. On today's agenda, we have 40 consent items and 4 noticed items. Commissioners, you've had the opportunity to read and review the consent agenda items. Are there any questions or comments? And I'll start with Commissioner Keene.
No questions, thank you.
And Commissioner French?
No questions. I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Our first noticed item is docket number 23 EKME 843 COM. It is in the matter of the complaint against Evergy by Kyle Wayne Morey. This is an order on prima facie determination. And our presenter today is General Counsel Brian Fedotin. Good morning, Mr. Fedotin.
Good morning, Commissioners. On June 28th, Mr. Morey supplemented his complaint to allege that Evergy failed to restore his property to its prior condition, leaving potholes, broken concrete, and piles of brush on his property. And he explained the location of his property. Therefore, upon review, the amended formal complaint complies with the requirements of KAR 82-1-220B and establishes a prima facie case for commission action. Therefore, this order concludes, that the formal complaint should be served upon Evergy for an answer. With that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Any comments or questions, beginning with Commissioner French?
No questions.
And Commissioner Keene.
No questions, I move approval of the order.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Our second noticed item is docket number 23 KGSG 887 COM. This is in the matter of the complaint against Kansas Gas Company, Evergy, and the City of Abilene Water by Adrian R. Potter. Again, another order on prima facie determination, and our presenter is Mr. Fedotin.
Yes. Ms. Potter files a complaint against 3 utilities, noting that she's currently treated as a commercial customer and is seeking to get 35% of her utility bill to be at commercial rates and the remaining 65% at residential rates. First, turning to the complaint against Abilene, the commission lacks jurisdiction over the City of Abilene's water department, and therefore the complaint fails to establish a prima facie case against the City of Abilene Water for commission action. The commission does have jurisdiction over both Kansas Gas and Evergy. Both of those utilities determine the appropriate customer class based on the principal or primary use of the property being served. The complaint doesn't contain any information on how the Potter property is used. They attach a real estate tax statement that shows the valuation, but that doesn't reflect usage. Therefore, pursuant to KAR 82-1-220C, this order gives the complainant 30 days to correct the procedural deficiencies. And if they fail to do so, the formal complaint will be dismissed without prejudice. So we lack jurisdiction over the City of Abilene, and then Ms. Potter fails to establish a prima facie case against KGS or Evergy, but has an opportunity to amend. With that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. And turning to Commissioner Keene, questions or comments?
No questions, thank you.
And Commissioner French.
No questions. I move approval of the order in this docket.
Second.
There's a motion to approve as well as a second. All those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Our next item is docket number 23 TRAM 806 PEN in the matter of the investigation of Circle F Bailing LLC of Hugoton, Kansas, regarding the violations of the motor carrier safety statutes, rules, and regulations, and the Commission's authority to impose penalties, sanctions, and/or the revocation of motor carrier authority. This is a penalty order, and Mr. Hassan Latif, who is our litigation counsel, will explain. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. The penalty order before you arises out of a compliance review of Circle F Baling LLC, a common carrier which hauls grain, feed, hay, machinery, and large objects operating out of Hugoton, Kansas. This investigation was conducted from April 18th through May 5th by special investigators Penny Fryback and Erica Pargas. During staff's investigation, the special investigators found several violations, and the order before you assesses penalties for 12 of those violations, resulting in $8,500 in total penalties. The violations included several enhanced violations that staff deemed intentional. The carrier was involved in a fatality accident on December 1st, 2022, when a driver turned in front of the carrier's vehicle on a highway. In the post-accident inspection conducted by the Highway Patrol, the carrier was cited for a number of violations found at the scene of the accident, and staff found that the carrier had resumed operations by December 29th and had not corrected several of the violations found in the post-accident inspection. Thus, several of the violations, which I will briefly summarize, are enhanced fines. Those include a $1,000 enhanced fine for failure to ensure its drivers are medically examined and certified, a $1,500 enhanced fine for operating without its vehicles being manually inspected or annually inspected, a $1,000 enhanced fine for failure to have proper commercial registration. The carrier was found operating with farm tags, though it does not own its own farm. It does work for other farmers. So those operations do not qualify as farm operations. A $1,000 enhanced fine for operating without a valid Kansas issued CDL, and a $1,000 enhanced fine for failure to obtain and maintain proper Kansas Corporation Commission authority to operate. Additionally, there were violations for failures related to the company's drug and alcohol program, its failure to maintain records of maintenance, as well as maintain driver qualification documents. Staff believes the order appropriately assesses penalties against this carrier and recommends approval of the order. Both I and staff are available to stand for questions.
Thank you. Turning first to Commissioner Keen for questions or comments.
No questions. Thank you. I would have this comment. Thank you for the overview, Hassan. That was quite detailed. Once again, my kudos to our two field investigators for their diligence and professionalism and their attention to detail, trying to basically deliver some of the public safety requirements that we have in place. That's the end of my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And turning to Commissioner French, questions or comments?
No questions. I move approval of the order.
We have a motion and a second to approve the order. I'm just going to say that several of the violations were intentional. Again, this is very disturbing on the part of this particular operator. And it really does impact the safety of the driver as well as the general public. And I do appreciate that we are enhancing the violation to reflect intentionality and repetitiveness, that there were multiple violations that had occurred of the same type. But reading the material, it was very disconcerting. So we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thank you. Our next docket is number 24CONS 3007 CPEN in the matter of the failure of Rampike Resources Ltd. To comply with KAR 82-3-120 and KAR 82-3-133 by operating under a suspended license. This is a shut-in order, and our presenter today is litigation staff Tristan Kimball. Good morning, Mr. Kimball.
Good morning. Thank you. Before you is a shut-in order for Rampike Resources Limited, which continued to perform oil and gas activities after its license was suspended for noncompliance with the Commission's penalty orders in docket 23-CONS-3161-CPEN and docket 23-CONS-3200-CPEN. This order assesses a $10,000 penalty and directs Commission staff to seal all oil and gas operations of the operator. With that, I would recommend approval of the order, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Turning first to Commissioner French. Any questions or comments?
No questions. Thank you.
And Commissioner Keen.
No questions. I move approval of the order.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve the order. All those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Kimbrell. Gentlemen, this does conclude our agenda for today. Are there other items to come before the commission?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
There is a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Be safe, be well.
Take care.